What's up, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome back into Win or Lose Chiefs News Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Liu, and this is my channel, ALU2 Productions. This is episode number 10 of the podcast in the 2025 season. I needed a few days because I actually got sick with the flu a couple of days ago, and I've been recovering. Literally, I've been sick, but also figuratively, I've been sick of watching the Chiefs sabotage themselves, play like crap, do everything in their power to stop and defeat themselves. If you're watching this right now, you probably know exactly what I'm saying, and you feel the same way that I do, just absolutely gutted beyond belief. Last week's loss, in my mind, is the lowest point for this team this season, and I know it's easy to say that after any loss that it feels like a low point and the lowest point, but I think when you get to this point in the season where their playoff chances are so slim right now that they really do at this point have to win every single game. Every game is a must win. And then they're going to have to hope and pray that other teams like the Chargers that they're about to play lose games going forward so we can somehow miraculously sneak in to the 7th seed. So before we get started, Travis Kelce had two crucial drops at the end of this game, including what ended up being the game-sealing interception. Our offense looked completely broken beyond repair most of the game, and now we're sitting at 6-7 with the real possibility of not making the playoffs for the first time in Mahomes' career and the first time for the Chiefs in I think about 10 years. So today I'm going to break down 5 main takeaways from last Sunday night's disaster. We're going to talk about one being Mahomes hasn't been perfect this year, but he's done quite a bit of everything that he can do to try to win and keep us in games and will this team, but he is not getting enough help. The drop epidemic of 2023 seemed to come back in this game to haunt us and really killed the offense in this loss. Our defense deserves better. Andy Reid has another huge questionable coaching decision that really screwed us. And number 5, what all this means for the future of the franchise considering the state that we find ourselves in right now. Before we get into it, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment, share, and follow me on Instagram. All right, takeaway number 1. So as I said, Mahomes is not perfect. He has not been perfect this season, but he ultimately needs help. I don't care that much about stats. The stats were not pretty from this game, as they have not been for a number of games this season. Not everything was on pat. We'll get to the drops in a moment. Let's talk about all 3 interceptions really quickly. The first interception was a great play made by the Texans defender to bat a pass up into the air and be the same guy to track the ball down and come down with a catch. Now, I don't entirely agree with the rules of what counts and qualifies as a catch in the process of the catch. It appeared to me like that defender secured the ball between his forearms and kind of used the ground to his advantage to actually come away with the catch, but the ball didn't move, and you know what? He made a great play. It stood. He made a great play. You can't really be mad at it otherwise. Now, the second interception was definitely Mahomes' fault. Well underthrown, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. They tried to take a shot from midfield. It ended up being about the equivalent to a punt. I was a little bit more disappointed in Hollywood Brown by not seeing him try to come back to the ball, fight the defender to knock the ball away, and prevent an interception. Now, the third interception, completely on Kelce. Mahomes hits him right in the hands. It's a catch you got to have at the end of the game. I think we were trailing 17-10 at that point. We still have a chance to make a drive downfield and try to get a touchdown to tie. Kelce doesn't just drop the ball, but bobbles, tips up in the air, like off his shoulder pad, and is intercepted, like the easiest interception you could gift the Texans at that point. So yeah, that was not on Mahomes at all. Perfectly thrown pass, should have been caught. And that's kind of just been the theme of this season. Mahomes is doing everything he can on offense at times, but he's just not getting any help from the people around him when he needs it most. So that brings me to my next point, which is takeaway number 2. This drop epidemic of a game. This was like the 2023 season fit into one game. I mean, everybody was dropping passes. I'm just going off of memory here. I'm not looking at the box score, any specific stats, anything like that. But Noah Gray definitely had 2 drops that I can remember. One was the very first pass from scrimmage in the first quarter, which was a 3rd down. He catches that. That's a 1st down. Later on in the game, he dropped one that should have been about like a 5 to 6 yard gain easily, at least. unless he had some yards after the catch. He dropped both of those. Easy passes, dropped them both. Kareem Hunt dropped one that was critical, would have at least been a first down, probably could have been a walk-in touchdown. Rashee Rice, I think, had like 2 that were on critical third down conversion opportunities that were wasted. And then Travis Kelce, in addition to the 2 I already mentioned, I think he had a third one early on in the game. So, and these weren't difficult catches to make. Mahomes hit his receivers right in the hands. Even if the ball was placed like a little high, a touch behind them, he hit them in the hands. They weren't lasers. They weren't rockets. They weren't thrown with a defender draped all over them. They weren't a jump ball contested catch. It wasn't any of that. These were just simple routine passes that were dropped. Most of those drops would have been first downs. This continues to contribute to other problems we already have with stalling ourselves out of drives on offense. Now, as a side note, this is not a drop, but Mahomes had a beautiful deep ball thrown to Tyquan Thornton at one point in the game. He hit Thornton in the end zone, right in the hands. Thornton had it. But again, kind of like the first interception, you got to give credit to Houston's safety. Made a great play on the ball. Stuck his hand in there, broke up the pass. You got to give credit to him. It was a great play. But I think what's disappointing is Thornton, I think this is his second or third year in the league now. I just feel like there are other receivers that he can definitely learn from, and he's going to need to improve if he's going to be a prominent piece and weapon in the passing game for us on this offense. There are other receivers out there who maybe they have a bigger body, a bigger frame, but they're able to be more physical and come away with those catches by just muscling it, doing whatever it takes to fight like hell to hold on to that ball, to fight through the contact. And so I feel like that's just not happening. That was a play that we really needed to be a touchdown in that moment. Overall, just our guys aren't making plays that they should be making. I mean, it's been said a lot at this point. This is not the same Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce in his prime offense from years ago. But the point being, these are still pro receivers that we have. They need to catch the ball, period. When you talk specifically about Travis Kelce, look, this is really tough to say. I hate it. I hate thinking it because I love everything that he's done for us. Unfortunately, just what I've seen from him, not just in that game, but other parts this season, it really is time for Travis Kelce to walk away and retire after this season so he doesn't taint his legacy. I can just see on his face on the sideline during pregame warmups, hearing his voice on his podcast every week. He just doesn't have that fire there. It just doesn't seem like he even really wants to play that badly anymore. You know, he's 35 years old. He's not the same guy that he once was. He's slower. He's aging out. That interception at the end of the game, I just didn't think we were going to see that twice this season. The same thing pretty much happened against the Eagles in our week 2 loss. And this is at Arrowhead we're talking about, you know? These things can't happen. When you're a future Hall of Famer and you've been as clutch as he has been for us, I just expect more out of someone like him. And at a certain point, we have to be direct and we can no longer question this. I mean, I'm just going to say it out loud. Like, is Travis Kelce more of a liability than an asset in bringing value to this team? I don't know, and I don't think so anymore. I don't mean any disrespect by that, but sometimes the truth hurts, and that it is what it is. Okay, takeaway number 3. So the defense played well enough to win. I mean, easily. That's a pretty much a no-duh type of statement. That's what was so frustrating. The defense really showed up, especially in the third quarter, to really spark the offense coming back in this game. They played their ass off, and it just didn't matter. Yeah, the defense came out in the third quarter, totally dominated. Chris Jones was a monster, making plays all over the place, being disruptive, being what we needed him really to be all season, let's be frank. But, you know, we were getting pressure on Stroud. We were making plays. We forced like 5 consecutive punts, most of them being 3 and outs at one point. And I think in the third quarter, the Texans had something like 2 yards or negative 2 yards even. So the defense was giving the offense every chance, every opportunity to come back, to really win the game. We did come back. We tied 10-10. I forget at what point in the game this was, but, you know, we lost Trent McDuffie to injury, which was unfortunate. I hope he's okay. But somehow we actually ended up looking better without him. You know, he was struggling early on, dealing with the likes of guys like Nico Collins in the Texans passing game. He struggled a lot against Dallas, against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. And he's not the only one. I mean, Shamari Connor has had a rough year as well. So it's no knock on Trent. I love McDuffie. But I'm just saying that rookie cornerback Noah Williams, he's impressed me. He's stepped up. He might not be having like a Pro Bowl all-star caliber type of year, but he has shown that he can play. He can hang with these guys. Every time he's on the field, I like what I'm seeing out of him, and it's a good opportunity and time for him to learn and grow. So it just makes me wonder, like, why are we not giving him more chances, more opportunity, more playing time, more snaps? I hear about that all the time, that his snap counts, like, they make zero sense. Like, one game he'll play a ton, and then the next game he hardly plays. The Chiefs defense has, in particular, prioritized, and maybe it's really a whole team-wide issue, but we've prioritized veterans, seniority, and experience for some reason, even if guys are really, really old, like Mike Pennell, Mike Edwards, Christian Fulton, even when the younger guys are outperforming them. So outside of one touchdown drive allowed in the first half, the Chiefs defense held Houston in check pretty well up until the fourth quarter, which brings me to takeaway number 4, which is the decision by Andy Reid to go for it on that 4th and 1. And it was a long 4th and 1. It was like more like a yard and a half. We were tied 10-10. I forget how much time was left in the fourth quarter, but we're in our own territory still. 30 or 31 yard line. Andy Reid decides to go for it instead of punting, and that was a mistake. I'm not saying that Andy Reid relied on analytics, but it was just too aggressive. Our defense had been dominant. It's not like the defense couldn't stop the Texans at that point, especially with the offense really struggling to be consistent, to execute, to move the ball. The offense could not get out of their own way for most of the game. Andy Reid really messed that one up big time. If we ended up losing and the defense just, broke eventually, it is what it is. But I just think you make the bigger mistake by basically giving the game away to Houston with that decision to go for that 4th and 1. And, the Texans, they capitalized. They took advantage immediately, marched down, got a touchdown, 17-10, and then the rest is history. Even though Andy Reid's decision was wrong, in my opinion, the play call itself actually wasn't terrible. Mahomes had options right away. He had Juju Smith-Schuster immediately coming across as the initial crossing route. He was open. Didn't get it to him. He had Kareem Hunt open in the flat on the right side. Didn't get it to him. He held onto the ball too long, waited for Rashee Rice to come inside on his route, and by that point, it was too late. He was too well covered, and the pocket started collapsing, and Mahomes had to get a bad throw off, and maybe it still could have been caught by Rice, but it was poorly executed, the timing was not there. They didn't make the play. How did the Chiefs even get into that situation? Well, in a tight game, Harrison Butker's missing kicks issue returned in this game. Now, it was only one, but I think it speaks volumes seeing how he missed the first one by pushing too far right, and then he overcompensated on the second one, barely sneaking it in, tucking it into the left upright. Those 3 points, those missed 3 points off the board, proved to be really costly in a very low-scoring, tight, mostly defensive game. And I'll just sum this up by just saying that, I've heard a lot of Chiefs podcasters calling for Matt Nagy to be fired, and honestly, I can't say I don't disagree. Our offense has not looked the same since Eric Bieniemy left after the 2022 Super Bowl win. Really, since 2023, this offense has just continued to find ways to further decline. I think it's more of a systemic, deep-rooted issue of, for whatever reason, we refuse to run the ball from under center consistently. We insist on running it from shotgun, which does not work as well. I don't have all the stats and numbers in front of me, but every game that Jim Nantz and Tony Romo commentate, Tony Romo calls out the fact that they need to stop running from gun and run from under center. One run in particular that I saw from the loss against the Texans is I think Kareem or Pacheco ran from under center, and one of them picked up 6 or 7 yards. They even did a toss, sweep, pitch type play to Brashard Smith, picked up several yards. And do they do that over and over and over again? Do they go back to it? No. They just, whatever's working, they just for some reason shy away from and toss out, and they want to do what's not working. Don't understand it. So something has to change with the philosophy, with the approach, the mentality, the scheme, and probably coaching staff changes. Okay, so last takeaway, number 5. Big picture here. Is this the end of an era? Everyone asks that. I don't think so. I think this is just a down year, a bad season, really by our own doing. If you zoom out and look at what all this means, let's face it, it is what it is. We're 6-7. There's 4 games left. Everything is a must-win. If it wasn't more of a must-win before, it absolutely is a must-win now. If you don't win these last games, you're basically done. You have to win out, and other teams are going to have to lose ahead of us for us to sneak in as the 7th seed. Can we beat the Chargers at home? Maybe. Can we win 4 straight? Based on what I've seen, I don't know. This team can't get out of their own way. Every week, it's nothing new. It's no new problems. It's just a mixed bag of the same old, same old. Drops, penalties, missed kicks, bad play calls, poor play design, turnovers, poor execution, failure, and stubbornness to do what is actually working, to feed the hot hand, to keep it simple. And instead, we just insist on making things harder for ourselves and being complex and doing what is not working. Trying to almost correct it in game, like do it. It's almost like the belief is, oh, well, if we keep trying to do these plays that aren't working enough, we will get them to work. What eats me up inside the most about this is it's not a talent problem. We are not some 1-12 team that has a piss poor roster and we're a sorry excuse for a football team. We still have guys that have won Super Bowls, that are future Hall of Famers on this roster. Talent just doesn't matter if you can't execute. It doesn't matter if you're the ones beating yourselves every single week. It's not the competition, in my opinion, that's beating us. It's ourselves. Yeah, even the best guys can have bad days, but we're not just having bad days. Like, we're having a bad season. We're having bad weeks and months. Everything is wrong and off right now. So I think looking back to last February, the Super Bowl loss to the Eagles, as much as I hate to say it, that really did a number on this team. I don't know if just mentally us getting dominated in that game, if we just really never recovered our confidence. It just feels like every loss this season, just problems continue to compound and it's getting worse and worse. You know, we don't have championship swagger or mentality. There's no sense of urgency or fire that we play with. Other than, I think, Patrick Mahomes, Kareem Hunt, and Chris Jones, and a couple of other guys, the team collectively just is not, whatever was once there energy-wise just isn't anymore. And so, I don't know, maybe we needed this down year. Maybe we need a longer off season to rest, to take a break, to reflect, regroup, reload, rebuild, do some real looking in the mirror, soul searching, and figure out like, hey, how do we want to change and adapt to what the rest of the league is doing? I really think we need to move on from some coaches, some aging veteran players. We need to bring in fresh blood, younger, hungrier guys who have never even tasted like the playoffs, never even smelled postseason football to get some energy back into this team. So we need a real overhaul of coaching and players, I think. But overall, it just it hurts watching the Chiefs right now. I think after years, these last 7 years of dominance and the runs that we've had, I just think that to be sitting here now at 6-7, and it's just brutal to even think like, can we even make it to 10-7? I just find it hard to even have expectations or faith in this team because they're just continuing to just shoot themselves in the foot, and it's like painful to watch. So to conclude and wrap up episode number 10, I just want to say holistically, you know, we've been spoiled as Chiefs fans these last several years. I'm always going to be a Chiefs fan. I'm going to ride or die with them for the rest of my life. We can't sugarcoat what's been going on. I don't think the Chiefs suck. They are just doing everything in their power to suck. The season's been a disaster, and I realize that at 6-7, there are teams that, you know, are already eliminated from playoffs that would kill for a year like what we have, but that's not really saying much at this point. Last Sunday night, by our standards, by this franchise's standards, it's almost hit rock bottom. I mean, it's sad to say. But we have 4 games left. Can we turn it around? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I guess anything's possible. At this point, I just need to see the Chiefs win a game because they have blown so many of these games on their own. So if they can just win one game, being against the Chargers, maybe there's a shot they can finish 10-7. Maybe they'll get lucky with some other teams losing and losing out or losing most of their remaining games for us to somehow sneak in. So, Chiefs fans, Chiefs Kingdom, if you are as frustrated, angry, disappointed as me, I'm right there with you. Please drop a comment below. Let me know your biggest takeaway from last Sunday night. I know at this point you're probably trying to move on to Week 15 against the Chargers, but let me know, are you still holding out hope for the playoffs? Do you think, and if so, if you do think, what major changes need to be made in the offseason with the Chiefs organizationally and also with the players, with this roster? Let's talk about it. If you all enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button. Again, subscribe for more Chiefs content coming from my podcast all season long. And if you made it this far in the video, you are a real one. Really appreciate the support. Chiefs Kingdom, we don't quit even when times are ugly. I know this is rough right now, but we will get through it. Just try to remember the days when we weren't even going to the playoffs, or whenever we did get in the playoffs, we lost the first game. We were one game bounced and out. That's going to do it for episode 10. Again, my name is Alex Liu. This is my channel, Alu2 Productions. You've been watching Win or Lose Chiefs News Podcast, episode 10. Until next time, let's pray for better days ahead. I'm going to go into this Chargers game without hardly any expectations. After what I saw against the Texans, I was pretty much just shaking my damn head. How can I even get mad? They're just doing this to themselves. You almost just have to watch and let it take its course. How about those Chiefs? Let's go Chiefs. Let's go Chiefs.